You have to ask yourself, why have Democrats gerrymandered their states aggressively over the past 10 to 20 years? If you look, for example, at the popular vote in a lot of these states, and Massachusetts, where 32% of the residents of Massachusetts voted for Republicans, 0 Republican federal representatives. So we're not trying to all we're doing, frankly, is trying to make the situation a little bit more fair on a national scale. The Democrats have gerrymandered their states really aggressively. We think there are opportunities to push back against that, and that's really all we're doing. You have to ask yourself, why have Democrats...
I agree with JD. That's really all we're doing. We're just doing what the Democrats have already done. And honestly, I think they're absolutely cooked. I think Democrats are absolutely cooked. And their so-called leader, Gavin Newsom, has doomed them. Because he wanted to make this a big deal, of course, because he wants to run for president. Now you have a bunch of Republican states that are supposedly going to redraw their maps. Obviously, we had Texas, which basically Texas and Cali basically kind of wash each other out. But then we also have a place like Indiana, okay, which you can see here has the possibility of adding 2 more seats. 2 right there, okay? Going from a 7-2 to a 9-0. Look at that map. Democrats want to do it, so shall we. Next slide. Then we have Florida, right? Which could add, in this map, I believe they're adding 3 more seats. Okay, yeah, this turns Florida 9, Florida 23, and Florida 25 into red seats. So this map shows 3, but they could add as many as 5. Okay, depending on how they want to draw the maps. So it could be 5 more. So now we're at 7. All right, but it doesn't end there. Let's move on to Missouri. Missouri could add another one, okay? They're going to redraw their maps. Where are we at? 5. We were at 7, so there's 8, okay? But it doesn't end there, all right? I want to show y'all this clip, though, before we continue on with the horrible news for Democrats.
Many Democratic majority states are now threatening to rewrite their own maps if Texas follows through with its plan.
Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton have left us no choice. That's the reality. Nobody came looking for this.
But many Democratic...
Now, mind you, that is the governor of Massachusetts. Healy. I think that's how you say her name. Healy. I want y'all to take a look at the map of Massachusetts. Do you see any red? She said that we left her no choice. Your state is already gerrymandered to the max. There's no Republicans. What are you going to do? Ensure that Republicans can't win? No Republican already can win. So, like, you can't make this stuff up, bro. I just found that absolutely hilarious. Like, she's threatening us with, like, absolutely nothing. Oh my goodness. She threatened us with nothing. Oh, well, they left us no option. Like, what you going to redraw the maps in your state? You already did that. There's no Republicans. What are you going to do? Oh my goodness. My goodness gracious. Wow. Absolutely incredible. But the bad news does not end there for the Democrats. I want you guys to take a look at these numbers coming out of New Mexico on voter registration. Okay, so what you have here is since August 1st, Republicans have added 1,056 new voters, while Democrats have added 562, which is a net gain for Republicans of almost 500. Now, listen, I know, you're like, Rich, bro, what? 500? That's it? That's crazy, yo. Yeah, I know. 500 is not a huge number, but when you look at these other numbers, since 2024, okay, since election day in 2024, both parties have actually lost voters. total, right? Have lost voters, declined. But look how much the Democrat Party has declined. 25,000, almost 26,000 voters they've lost, while Republicans, 13. Net difference, 12.4 thousand voters, 12,400 and some change. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a gap, okay? That is a gap. Now, why the GOP would be losing voters, I think some people have drank the Kool-Aid a little bit of mainstream media. And, I think that's partly, folks like myself, our fault for not getting the information out enough to combat what mainstream media is spewing out on a daily basis. I mean, hourly basis. BS Now, Communist News Network. What they're spewing out on a daily basis is just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So, folks like myself, we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job, simple and plain, of getting, real information out to folks. To show them that, Trump actually isn't, this mean, nasty, and terrible guy. He's not the dictator, right? Actually, he's doing a fantastic job, and here are some of the things that he's doing. We got to do a better job at presenting that information, folks like myself. So I'll probably blame myself for that, but hey, a win is a win, right? A win is a win. We're plus 12,400 on that. So I will take that. I will, be a little bit happy with that, but there's more terrible news. I want you guys to take a look at this electoral college map here. And what do you notice? Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all are blue. But look up here. Republicans still win. We still win. And this will be the result after the census, because the Electoral College is going to be changed, which will ensure that Republicans will no longer have to win any of these states. Because remember, in just this past election, Trump had to win Pennsylvania in order to win. Okay, that was huge. That was huge. That will no longer be the case after this next census, because Democrat states are hemorrhaging population. Okay, hemorrhaging numbers, and they're all going to red states. So yeah, that is going to be a major problem for Democrats in future elections. Major problem. And then also, if we want to take a look at the voter registration numbers, now, to be quite honest, the registration has slowed down quite a bit. Honestly, it slowed down a whole lot. Okay. But these numbers are still good, because Democrats just had a voter registration lead of, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, it was like 130,000 voters just in this past November, right? Just last year. The Democrat lead was like 130,000. I believe it was, I'm almost sure it was over 100,000. I think it was like 130. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But now that lead is down to 53,000. 53,000. Cutting more than half. Okay. Now, yeah. Are we growing at a crazy rapid rate? No. Plus 373. Nothing crazy, right? But we're just being honest here. Obviously, a win is a win. We'll take the W. It's a plus, not a minus. As you see here, Democrats are minus 5,100. Okay. Other is plus almost 5,000. That's incredible. But a win is a win. I will take that. Okay. But it doesn't end there for the Democrat Party. I want you guys to take a look at this. Yep. Epic breaking news. Republicans in North Carolina are absolutely crushing it, zooming toward a jaw-dropping active voter registration lead of plus 100,000 over Democrats. A voter registration lead of over 100,000 in North Carolina we're coming up on here shortly. Okay? Amazing news. Amazing news. But that is not all of the good news, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That's not all of it. I want you guys to take a look at this report. Massive news. The Trump White House is pushing Kansas and Nebraska to redraw their congressional maps for the 26 midterms. Yeah. So not only did we, where were we at? Were we at 8 before with Florida, Indiana, and Missouri? We could be adding more with Kansas and Nebraska. We've also got possibly Ohio on that list, okay, to redraw. An anonymous source close to Ohio legislature told us that Ohio redraw is leaning towards a 13-2 map. Yeah, 13-2, adding even more seats, okay? So this whole battle, right, that Gavin Newsom thought that he was going to win has absolutely backfired in spectacular, and I mean spectacular fashion. It has fallen flat on its face, and I'm happy about it, right? Because Gavin Newsom is, I don't know, he gives me a supervillain character, type of deal. Like when I see Gavin Newsom, I think of like, supervillain, snake oil salesman. So yeah, I'm loving all of the great news. Plus there's more, obviously, and I reported on these numbers earlier, maybe about a month ago, actually. So way earlier, that the voter registration numbers in all states that track them looks terrible for the Democrats.
Goldmacher with Jonas Smith, and is going on about the voter registration crisis that the Democrats are facing. The subhead is "The party is bleeding support beyond the ballot box," according to a new analysis. And the highlights of this thing show as follows. While there are still more Democrats registered nationwide than Republicans, though they point out that's simply because in states like California, you can register by party, whereas in a lot of red states, you can't. So that's even questionable. They say, nonetheless, for the first time since 2018, more new voters nationwide chose to be Republicans than Democrats last year. Of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one between 2020 and 2024, and often by a lot. That 4-year swing toward the Republicans adds up to 4.5 million voters, a deep political hole that could take years for Democrats to climb out from. It goes on to say all 4 presidential battleground states covered by the Times analysis, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, all of them showed significant Democratic erosion. In North Carolina, Republicans erased roughly 95% of the registration advantage that Democrats held in the fall of 2020. They quote Michael Pruser, who tracks voter registration closely, as the director of data science for Decision Desk HQ, an election analysis site, quote, "I don't want to say the death cycle of the Democratic Party, but there seems to be no end to this. There is no silver lining. There is no cavalry coming across the hill."
No silver lining, no cavalry coming across the hill. And honestly, it doesn't look like they're doing anything to even attempt to change the direction of the Democrat Party. So you can only expect it to get worse, which is great for us, so I'm not mad about it. But I just wanted to bring you guys that little tidbit of good news that I was coming across. Amazing news. Now, does that mean that we need to just sit back on our hands? Absolutely not. We have lost some special elections. And honestly, folks like myself need to do a better job, of talking about those special I can't even talk anymore. Goodness gracious. Those special elections as well. So I'll probably blame myself, but yeah, we got to stay active. We got to make sure that we're showing up, because Democrats are always going to show up, and they've proven that, especially in these little off-year elections, these special elections, these random elections that are popping up, right? Democrats are always going to show up for those. So we have to make sure we do the same thing. But anyway, y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.